but at least you get to understand and empathize with what the man is going through or was going through at that time and what frame of mind he's in. Because if you want to know what frame of mind he's in, to challenge and change each other and to help each other grow, you're gonna have to know where you're starting from. You can't just assume that he should be at whatever level, going back to the last question, that you want him to be at. Yeah, whatever, like you're a man. You're a man. Like, okay, you'll be fine. Basically. So it's almost automatically dismissed or belittled. So when someone actually does create that space, that's where change can take place. But yeah, let's get straight into the topic for today, because yes, this is going to be the good one.
I'm excited. Alrighty. So, you got the coin? Okay, so our first segment is two sides of the same coin. Again, we flip a coin to see who answers the question first. And whoever ends up winning overall is able to answer the questions first in our either or, which is our next segment. So Oso was over here flipping and shit, and I don't know what it landed on, and I am curious how this is going to work out in his favor. But let's see. Oso, what did you call?
Heads.
And what is it? Oh, would you look at that? It's heads, y'all. Ain't that about a bitch? Whatever.
Hey.
Whatever.
Okay.
He's really nice over here. Okay.
You know what? Take your Maryland terms and get up out of here.
You know?
Alright.
So, first question is...
Yes. The one that I get to answer first because I won.
The first question is... Why do women think men should be able to read their minds?
Oh God. I think there's some expectation that in a woman's eyes, she puts a guy on a pedestal, right? The dream guy or the guy who she wants as a partner. And this person is attentive. And that's seen as a good quality in men, which it is. I think it's being attentive and, you know, being able to pay attention to details is important for anybody. Like, whatever your sex might be, like, however you identify, it doesn't matter. Like, you being that way will help with the connection. So, with that being said, I think that kind of gets expanded and over-exaggerated when it comes to partners because of their unattentiveness when it comes to regular things. So I'll give an example.
Yeah, because you kind of lost me.
All right, so if you and I are going out, right, and I don't pay attention to shit, I don't pick up on nothing. I don't say like, oh, we should go out. It's been a while since we go out, or we've been out, or something like that. I just don't do those things. I'm just like oblivious to everything. I don't know that you need anything, you know. So if I'm like that, you might think that
you don't care.
Maybe, but also
no, that's what I'm thinking.
See, this is how you interrupt the examples. This is why I'm not gonna use you in the example.
Go ahead, baby.
I threw my whole thing off. In the example of another woman, clearly. All right, I'm talking to this other woman. Whatever. I'm not doing my job. Whatever. Blah blah blah. Same scenario. Cause can't use her no more. She might have an expectation of you knowing, being able to read her mind because you're not able to pick up on little things. So if you're not able to pick up on little things, it's like, well, at least you should be able to like know when I'm upset or know when I'm whatever. If you can't like take me out on a date or like say that I look pretty or something else like that, you should at least be able to know when I'm in need of certain things. Now this is particular to whoever the woman is. So like whatever her top need is, that's whatever she puts on that pedestal of like things that the man should be able to just pick up like that. So if it's like,
yeah, give me concrete examples.
Concrete examples for some women, it's like money. So he should just know to pay my rent. There are some women that are like that, right? So that's the expectation. The mind reading. That's the expectation with her. For some other people, it's like, he should just know that I was upset. That's emotion.
Well, I got one.
Go ahead. Now, you see the pattern now. You like, oh, I got one.
He should just know when he asks me if I want anything from the fast food restaurant and I say no, to get me something anyway.
Right. Again, that is, I guess,
even though I said no.
Even though you said no. That is, again, going back to like, and these all could be tied into like love languages or ways that you were injured in a romantic fashion or something like that. So it's like, if you need words of affirmation, you should know that I needed you to say something in that moment, you know?
How?
And that's the ironic thing, is the person who would need the words of affirmation doesn't know how to communicate the fact that they need it.
Ooh, talk about it, call somebody out.
But yeah, that's how it really goes. It comes from that having a pedestal being put on expectations of the man and wanting that to be followed through because it's seen as like almost like as a way of validating your connection. Like if y'all know things, if you just know things, like if you're like in sync and like you know, like just like we're so close together and everything, when we finish each other's sentences, oh my god, and he's like and all that stuff, all that gushy stuff that be on the movies. It's all good. It's all good, but it should not be the benchmark for what you define as a healthy relationship. Because when you get caught up in some of those things that are trivial, you miss out on things that are more concrete, like what he is doing and what, you know, he might be bringing to the table. And then you can also insert what things you want instead of it being like, you can be proactive and state the things that you want instead of it being like a overhauling burden and some type of distrust between the two of you because you're taking that on him secretly. Basically, like you have some remorse about what you're going through because the word's not remorse. I'm thinking of what is the word? It's gonna come to me. Resentment. There it is. So you're holding on to some resentment because you feel like he should do this and should be doing that, and you're like, oh, he's disappointed me. He just doesn't care. Going back to what you did say at the end. Ooh, I tied it all up in the bow. I'm done. Whew.
That was good, baby.
All right. I hope those examples help. I'm trying to work on my examples more, trying to help break down stuff, especially when it comes to relationships on the podcast. So yeah, I'm trying to be intentional about doing that so that anybody who's listening or watching can get these lessons and, you know, just have better connections, better relationships going forward.
Yeah, I agree.
Your turn.
I agree.
What's up?
I agree with what you said. For sure. I think there is this, expectation that he should be able to read your nonverbal cues. And that is something that you expect them, talking to the women out here, you expect them to learn about you, study you.
That's good.
Because if they cared, they would take that time. And I want to point out with this expectation that you did not necessarily communicate verbally. Just because you volunteer to do that for him does not make it automatic to receive the reciprocal. You choose to do that for him. You don't have to. You know? But also, that's a lot. You know, that's a lot. Like, people are still in their own individual journeys. And to pay that close attention to somebody else when you're also in your own feelings, processing things yourself, is a lot to ask of somebody. You know? Yeah. That is. So, and some people may have the capacity for this, like the women choosing to do that for their men. Like, I pay attention to some stuff, you know, with you, but I'm still learning you. Like, I will still always be learning you.
Yeah.
You're always growing and therefore always changing. So I'm gonna have to continue learning you. So that's like a never-ending process. So to have to constantly learn like nonverbal, like I also don't speak. I don't speak nonverbal language. Like that's I'm still learning that. Like that's hard for me. So to be that intentionally aware all of the time, I'm always around my partner, that's just a lot for me. I don't have the capacity. Not everybody will. If you, again, choose to do that because it is within yours, have at it. But to expect your partner to do this without verbally communicating that you want it to be done in the first place, to check in with their capacity.
What is that, dog? What we doing?
Is a lot to ask. Now, sure, you can, know a person's love languages. That's one area where I can be aware of where your needs are.
Right.
You know, that's one.
And that's a great one.
Exactly, because that's how they need to be loved.
Right.
Exactly. So, like, if I'm noticing that you need physical touch, because usually we project what we need, right? So.
Yes. Very much so.
Or for me, if I'm projecting words of affirmation that may be assigned to him, that's something that I'm needing. So, being able to be aware of those kinds of things in terms of our love languages may be something. But just to know everything, I think that also shows a lack of accountability, lack of responsibility on the woman or whoever partner is doing this, to not learn how to effectively communicate. I think your expectation totally like, what's the word for like dissipate or something like that?
Negates or just like...
totally negates your responsibility. Like, you are a grown ass woman, you grown, adult, functioning, independent people.
Speak up.
Exactly. Closed mouths don't get fed. Like, and then you're gonna get mad that expectation wasn't met, resulting in disappointment and then resentment, like you were saying earlier.
Yeah, that resentment is a bitch.
Because
it's like, again, unspoken.
Mm-hmm. A lot of times, if you do speak it, did that person agree to meet it?
It's wild, because that's how, like, when there's like one person who's like really unhappy in a relationship, and then there's another person who's like blindsided by like the breakup when it actually happens. That's because of that. Like, there's like this resentment and all this like hurt and anguish and just like negative feelings towards the partner based on actions that they perceived as like either disrespectful or whatever it might be. And it's like, that is exactly the type of feelings you would not want to harbor for years and years and years. But it happens. And then once it reaches to a point, that shit just explodes.
So now that you say this, like, that was my ex. Like, apparently there were so many issues, but he never said anything. And like, I learned from my last ex before him, who told me a lot of stuff after we broke up, and I was like, well, again, why didn't you tell me? So now in this next relationship, I was like, okay, I'm gonna make it a point to come together and have check-ins. Like, check in with what's going on with us. If I need to do some, work, if you need to do some work, if we need to do something towards our relationship, let's talk about it. He never did. And it's like, so how the fuck am I going to know?
So yeah.
So that was unacceptable for me. Cause like, I'm not going to know. You need to be able to communicate. We are not mind readers, no matter how much you expect them to be.
That was the genders were flipped on that one, but it's the same principle applies.
Just, I would like to point out that tactic is called stonewalling, which is a part of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. But it's Gottman's 4 horsemen, which is basically the 4 conflict styles. Conflict styles that will basically ruin a relationship.
Yeah. I feel like they categorized this.
Yeah, I don't know. But stonewalling is a part of it, because that can't exist in a functioning relationship, because you're not mind readers. You have to be able to communicate your needs, your boundaries, your expectations.
You can't just have the blank face all day and then think things are gonna go well in a relationship.
Conflict resolution requires effective communication and listening.
Right.
Like, so what y'all doing out here? Being mad at the fact that your man didn't know to get you something from the fast food restaurant when you said you didn't want anything in the first place?
Okay, let me know.
But how hard would it have been to just say what you wanted in the first place?
And you gotta think about it. The resentment can also go on the other side. Like a man always being ridiculed about those ticky-tack things, about stuff that you didn't communicate. How long do you think that's gonna last?
And then the responsibility is always put on the man for like, well, you know this is my pattern anyway, so you should do it anyway. And no accountability on herself to be like, well, you could just communicate what you want.
Yeah, God. So different. So different. You could, ooh.
Good luck with that happening. Ooh. Also, Sonny ain't having it.
Let's go to the next question.
All right, next question. All right. We getting juicy. We just started. Hey, it's the Real Family. It's your girl Rocky.
And your boy Elsa.
And thanks for being here. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell.
Right, because subscribing and hitting that notification bell does two very important things. One, it gives you notification on our new content and make sure that you're up to date on everything that we put out every week.
Every week.
You know, every week.
Every week.
And then number two, it helps your boy and your girl out with some money. You know what I'm saying? Let's just keep it honest.
It's so real, baby.
But in all seriousness, this is just like the video portion, the YouTube portion of our content. We are It's So Real
Podcast.
So we have all these episodes just waiting for y'all on how many platforms?
11 different streaming platforms.
11.
So it's up to you to choose.
Yeah, there's no excuses. We on everything. So whatever platform you're most comfortable listening to stuff, your content on, we're right there for you. So look us up. It's So Real Podcast.
And our link tree is available on our YouTube channel. Go over there, find the platform that works best for you, subscribe to our podcast, and hear the full thing, because we have a lot more to say than what shows up on our YouTube channel.
Exactly. With that being said, check out the rest of our videos while you're here.
You know? And be sure to subscribe.
All right, y'all. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
And love.
Always.